guys, welcome to a new video. This one will all be about how to plan the perfect road trip.
We are Julia, Sven and Felix, and we are professional road trippers. We traveled all across Europe, even going to Africa with our dog Felix, so we pretty much do this on a daily basis. And today we will share all our secrets and tips so you can plan your own road trip from start to finish.
The first thing we always do when we plan a road trip is, of course, doing research. We use all different kind of sources like Google, places to visit in Italy, for example, Instagram. I always use hashtags from the different places or countries. Pinterest, TikTok. There are so many different social media platforms that you can use. And I don't always just look for places itself or restaurants or museums or something like that. I also look for cool things to do. For example, I would Google something like bucket list things to do in Spain, and then something pops up like riding a roller coaster out of a skyscraper.
Okay, so the next step you do is you take screenshots from every spot you found in step 1, and then you type them into Google Maps and add some spots or some markers on those maps so you can find them easily afterwards.
Once we've done that, we have all these wonderful places in our Google Maps, and then we would usually see a nice route, like a circle, for example, that we could do. And sometimes it's also obvious that some places are way too far from this route, so it would be a huge detour to go there. So then you just have to think about the places you want to see and the places you have to skip because it doesn't make sense to go there, it would take too long.
Once you have this wonderful route, it's time to connect the dots and to see how long the distance from each spot to the next spot is. So what you have to do is see how far is the distance from point A to point B to point C and so on and so forth. By that you can see how much of a distance you can travel each day. And also how many places you can put into one day. During this step you have to consider the types of travel you actually do. So whenever we travel with our van, we just do this step very roughly because we can just sleep anywhere. But if we stay in hotels, we have to do this very precisely because we have to do the bookings in advance for each day.
The next step is not obligatory, but I always love to do that because it's just so much more fun on the trip itself. I just put all the places into notes from Apple, but you could just use any other app where you can save information, and I will use the screenshots from the first point that we took previously and put the route in there with all the screenshots, so whenever we are on the trip I can actually remember that this and that place looked like that, so I know what will come, I know what to wear depending on if we're going to a beach or to, I don't know, a museum, etc. And in that note on my phone I will also save all the distances that we checked previously on our Google Maps, because it makes it just so much easier on the road trip day itself, because you can always see, okay, the next trip will be 2 hours, maybe we can drive this distance and do our break later because the other distance will be much longer, so we have like kind of an overview for every single day.
The last trip before actually starting the road trip itself is do all your bookings for certain activities, or of course also for all those hotels, preferably a little bit earlier because that would be cheaper for the hotels. But if you want to book some tickets for museums, for example, you can skip the lines when you actually arrive at the museums, which is very handy, so book all your stuff in advance.
Another travel tip that you can not just do on road trips but also on any other trip is to take notes in advance for the basic words that you will need, like hey, thanks, goodbye, whatever. And we also love to do some research about the most popular food in special regions, because when we go to restaurants and we see the menu, we already know, okay, this is popular here, so we should maybe give it a try. And another thing that I always do, because I like to entertain Sven whenever we are on a trip, is to search for some random facts in advance. So whenever we are strolling through a city, I will just tell him, did you know that this and that happened here, or that Italy has the most UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the world, for example. For our next adventure, we already have the perfect travel luggage from AnyZip. They have a premium quality and are super affordable at the same time. And what's always very important for us, that a suitcase is lightweight and sleek and not as heavy as Felix. And that's because the material is out of polycarbonate, aluminium and water-resistant nylon, which makes the suitcases high-performing and durable. They are available in different sizes and designs, and we just love the timeless and classy look. If you also need luggage for your next trip, you can use our discount code to get 5% off, and in addition, the 3-piece suitcase set is currently on sale. More details and the link are in the description down below.
And when the travel day itself comes, you also have to keep in mind that you need some travel essentials, of course. So when you're traveling with your car, it's always essential to have some, how do you call it in English? I don't know, ich weiß nicht, was es heißt. Es heißt nochmal Scheibenwischer. Okay, I just use Google Translate. It's also a thing that you need for your travels. So you need your washer fluid for your windshields, of course. So whenever you run out of that, and especially during summer or during winter, always. Actually, it's not that nice if you don't have that stuff with you. And of course, you also need some snacks and drinks during the long rides. What's also very handy on travels in your own car are trash bags. So if you just have some random empty trash bags for snacks or takeaway food, you can just throw it in there on the long trips. It's also very nice. It helps keeping your car clean.
Good music or podcasts are of course also a must-have on road trips. Then coffee, if you're a coffee addict, so maybe something to keep it warm, a hot mug. Don't know the word, but I think you know what I mean. In Europe, we also always carry some change because toilets usually are not for free.
Except for Italy.
Except for Italy. And we also always bring something to entertain our dog Felix, like small bones or some snacks, interactive toys. So whenever we drive for very long distances, he can chew on something and has something to do. But most of the time he sleeps. Okay guys, that's already it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a paw up and subscribe to the channel. We will see you again next Sunday. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.